So next up, I'm thrilled to announce the illustrious poet Gerald Yelle, who has had work published in past issues of Meat for Tea. So let's give him a nice warm welcome.
That's good. I think I can't really. Well, maybe if I slide it down. And then straight. I think that does a good job of it. Okay, I'd like to start with this poem that's going to be in. I've been informed by Future Cycle Press that they're going to publish a manuscript, a book-length manuscript next year called the Holyoke Diaries. Thank you. And it has this poem in it that had never been published anywhere before, and I kind of like it, and it kind of shares the spirit of a lot of the art here, that it's made from found materials. And I lived in Holyoke for a while. Right out of college, I got the idea of trying to build furniture like bookcases out of found materials, and it sort of led to this poem called Quaint Cake Row. The bookcase grew, material pouring in 3 nights out of 5, with a street lamp bearing witness, pallet pine from the dock through the door of the walk-up, where Guy must have done keeping books in cardboard boxes. He could hardly take the smell. It made him think of pine-scented sawdust dropped on grade school vomit, and it rung him like a Pavlov bell. But he slapped his shelves together, though they'd rather split than take a nail, knowing they were good enough for paperback, thinking he could get the pallets, thinking they were good enough for books and more than books, knowing he could make a room take shape, then a wing or addition, or an L-shaped apartment, then a Tudor colonial as seen on TV. Guy must have tired of paying rent. He must have lost his low-tech ways. He must have struck it rich or borrowed money, since he bought the land beneath him. He bought his neighbors' houses too. He had to gut their apartments and concentrate their houses. He was tired of their breaking in on one another. He had to make room for the family and rebuild the Valley Arena. He was tired of the holes they were making in walls. What he built with his slats hurled splinters if looked at cross-eyed. What he built was self-referential and splendid. His neighbors adored it. Others were bored. They took umbrage at a slight provocation. His amphitheater stood in their way. Their view had always been pastoral. They said he lacked artistic integrity. Guy was too well versed in junk art ideology to salute their Jasper Johns. Confronted with the fear that the place might collapse or catch fire, Guy fought unrelenting. When they said Herbert Hoover built a Bondo and adobe cakewalk no different from his, he felt the rubric crumble. The baby failed to thrive. He strove to keep the shelving. It was all he had after the axe fell. It could have been a bridge to starting over. It could have been the lightning rod to ruin. That's a hard one to say. Lightning rod to ruin. Thank you. This one's going to be in that book also. It's called Arrangements for Economizing Worship. On holidays, it's normal for the twinkling of a star to flick icing on provisional cakes, to rev but not meander, striking patterns at the airport that replicate in wheat fields, strings of Christmas lights spiraling up through branches of spruce where their loops stretch like springs, the boughs bent as though weighted with chinchilla roosts. That's the strain maintained in well-toned tendons. Pluck one, in no small way you pluck them all. I'm talking about Electra's Good Night's Sleep. Her first in a year that started with her brother killing Clytemnestra, though both are steeped to the elbows in blood. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's sadness more than evil now. Aunt Eurydice's funeral lunch at a small spa in Cold Spring. A chill, cloudy April. A fitful afternoon. I beg Orfeo to stop by the underworld. I want to see her walk with the sky beneath her. Sweet Eurydice, attractive in ways I'll always remember. She isn't coming back, though. Abuela Athena blames our admiration. Our turning out to witness stops the song. I think I'll read this one next. It's called Julio and the Infection. Just do what I want. The fiscal cliff loomed above, and everyone was scared of falling. I wanted to point this out, but the boss said, forget it. It was only a figure of speech. He sent me out to test the waters and get me off his back. I hadn't gone half a block when this guy waves a pistol out a car window right in front of me. I froze in my tracks, but he was preoccupied. He was on the phone with the cops. 3 times, he said. She was bleeding, not moving. I don't know why. I'm retired. We're both retired. Yeah, but I wasn't wearing them. Look, just come and take this gun. That's when he saw me. He tossed it out the window. It landed on the hood. A cruiser took the corner on 2 wheels. A cop jumped out, gun in hand. Kids bored with school and fun said they'd like to see someone's head blown off. But the cop wasn't shooting, and I hadn't figured out the camera on my phone. Kids, I guess those are school kids, and this is more of a typical day in school, and you can understand why teachers sometimes get gray early and lose their hair. The guys, teachers anyway. It's called Mr. Mantooth. Mr. Mantooth came to class wearing a coonskin cap. When I told him to take it off, he threw it at me. It was then I realized that it wasn't just a coonskin. It was an actual live, potentially rabid raccoon. It bit me on the cheek and scratched my forehead. Then it bit my nose and peed on my shoe. I had to pry it off my face. It wasn't easy. Then it ran back to Mr. Mantooth, who scooped it up and hid it under his full-length beaverskin coat. By that time, the rest of the students were creating such a ruckus, laughing, stomping around, and carrying on, that I thought the whole building would hear us. I ordered Mantooth out of the room. He said he wasn't going. He had no place to go. I said, try the office. I thought they would send him home. I said, try the vegetable bin. I didn't think before I said it. It just came out. He sat on the floor and took off his snakeskin boots. Naturally, they slithered straight for the most snake-fearing kid in the class, poor Amanda, who screamed at the top of her lungs and woke up the sleeping beavers Mantooth had been using as a coat. In a matter of minutes, they chewed all the wooden desks to toothpicks. Well, here's one that's also going to be in the Holyoke Diaries, and based on something that really did happen. It's called Interlocutor with Balloon. On the way to the young child's party, a dog runs out, and there's no time to stop, and you hit it. It slides 30 feet on salted snow while spinning on its side. I checked the ditch. You knock at the neighbors, but it's gone. Gone to die in snow without words. Nestled under sheets and sheets in light and heavy beds. Reunited with its mate, its mother, litter, siblings, death, the best a dog can expect. Blood-red winter letting bankers sweep the walks and fill the sheds with coal. Dead as you're grieving the death of a dog, giving nothing but love, not having any other way to hurt you, and she ran in front of a car. Not a death she freely chose, but hearts hold only so much grief. You could be 10 and afraid of death again if your luck ran out. Let's go to the party. I'll cut loose a balloon. You tell me where you want it tethered, what you want it tied to. I'll hitch it to the moon and reach you down a fountain full of swallows. Sad poem. I'm just going to read 2 more if it's okay. It's okay. This one is, I guess, the more, well, the last two are kind of political. This is like the most sun I've had all summer sitting out in the sun. It's kind of, this one's called It's Your Money, like Robert Doyle. The accounting sickness appeared in troops just back from Iraq. Soon it spread among people required to open their doors to receive the recently redeployed. Some of us moved in with parents and had to clean out all our dresser drawers to find a single unmatched sock. I don't know how we did it. We had a green zone and a red zone. Soon we'd have a buffer zone for business models and coffins with silk flag linings on lapels. You'd go outside and some leopard would roar and make faces. I wasn't about to find a job under those conditions, what with the soft support, what with someone counting every minute you waste washing hands. I'd already spent all the cheap plastic markers that lose value every time you look at them. I told the teller the sign in the bank should say, "Nothing gold can stay." Nothing gold can stay. He said, "You should catch a penny from heaven every second. $36 an hour, $72,000 a year for an 8-hour shift." I asked if muscles wouldn't cramp in 20 minutes, and he shrugged. I could name on one hand those who wouldn't kill for a chance. I knew what he was saying. A wire wore a flock of goldfinch, one like an overstuffed fly. I moved my folks into a tent in the backyard, something I should have done sooner. Now they'll say I wanted to rule the roost before my own offspring off me. You always hurt the one you love. Isn't that what we used to sing? I'd add that if you do it right, you hurt the enemy too. Well. And this one is the last one. It's called Cowards on Parade. And face the thing you least feel up to. Don't be a coward. Okay, go ahead, be one. No one cares. No one else is doing anything. Why should you? The boss likes it this way. Don't disturb the peace. Can't you feel it? It's peaceful. That's better. Don't start that machine. Makes too much noise. Don't use machines to milk cows. Use your hands. Wash them first. Wash them again when you're done. Milking machines are for the birds. And get to know the cow whose milk you drink. Get to know the cow you want to eat, and maybe change your mind about eating it anyway. At least admit it. Being at the top of the food chain doesn't mean you own the moral high ground. So go ahead. Eat the cow. Be a coward. That's all it means. That doesn't mean you're afraid to fight. Cowards know how to fight. Don't tell me I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. I don't need to hear it. I'd rather be wrong. Give me a bite of that cow, right now. Cowards unite. We've only just begun to fight. Here we come. Here we go. Watch out for the cow pies. We haven't seen the whites of their eyes. We haven't even seen a cow. We haven't lived until we've bitten into one. Look it up. There's a picture of a burger with juice dripping from the bun. It's in the secret formula. It's in the sauce. Don't touch that dial. Thank you.